Zarthik's mandibles clicked in amusement as he surveyed the latest addition to Nexus Station's crew manifest. The human female stood barely chest-high to his imposing 8-foot frame, her pale skin and flowing brown hair making her appear even more fragile against the backdrop of hardened alien warriors and traitors that frequented the space station. "This is what the Terran Coalition sends us?" he chittered to his companion, Vexilon, gesturing dismissively at the woman who was currently speaking with Station Commander Krell. "I've seen hatchlings with more presence." Vexilon's 4 eyes blinked independently as he studied the human. "The manifest says she's Dr. Sarah Chun, xenobiology specialist. Apparently, she's here to study the wildlife on Kefma Prime." "Kefma Prime?" Zarthik's laughter was a harsh, grating sound that caused several nearby beings to glance in their direction. "That death world? She'll be eaten alive within hours of planetfall. The shadow claws alone could swallow her whole." The conversation was interrupted as the human approached their table in the station's cantina. Up close, she seemed even smaller, her delicate features and soft expression reinforcing Zarthik's assessment of her as prey rather than predator. "Excuse me," she said, her voice carrying a surprising note of confidence despite her diminutive stature. "I couldn't help but overhear your conversation about Kefma Prime. I understand you've both been there before?" Zarthik leaned back in, his chair, his razor-sharp teeth glinting in the artificial light. "Many times, little one. It's no place for someone of your ... constitution. Perhaps you should reconsider your assignment and request transfer to a more suitable world. Maybe one of those peaceful garden colonies the humans are so fond of." Dr. Chun's smile never wavered, though something flickered behind her brown eyes. "That's very thoughtful of you, but I'm quite prepared for Kefma Prime. In fact, I brought along some assistants." "Assistants?" Vexilon inquired, genuine curiosity overriding his companion's mockery. "My partner Rex," she replied simply. "He's been with me on dozens of expeditions. Would you like to meet him?" Zarthik's mandibles clicked again, this time in barely contained mirth. "By all means, little human. Let's meet this partner of yours. I assume he's another of your soft-skinned species?" Dr. Chun's smile broadened as she activated her cum device. "Rex, would you come to the cantina, please? There are some beings here who'd like to meet you." The response came not through the "come," but as a low rumbling sound that seemed to emanate from the station's very walls. Conversations throughout the cantina gradually died as the floor began to vibrate with heavy, measured footsteps approaching from the corridor. Zarthik's confident smirk faltered as the cantina's entrance, designed to accommodate beings up to 12 feet in height, was suddenly filled by something that had to duck to enter. The creature that padded into the room on silent paws was a nightmare-given flesh, standing 9 feet at the shoulder with midnight black fur that seemed to absorb light. Its head was massive, with intelligent yellow eyes and a mouthful of teeth that made Zarthik's own razor dentition look like decorative jewelry. The beast's gaze swept the suddenly silent cantina before settling on Dr. Chun with an expression that could only be described as affectionate. It padded over to her table with the fluid grace of an apex predator, each step deliberate and controlled. "Everyone, meet Rex," Dr. Chun said cheerfully, reaching up to scratch behind one of the creature's ears. The beast, easily weighing close to 1,000 pounds, closed its eyes and rumbled with contentment at the touch. "Rex is a Terran direwolf, one of the last of his kind. We've been together for 8 years now." Zarthik found himself pressed back in his chair, every instinct screaming at him to flee. The creature's head was less than 3 feet away, and he could feel the heat of its breath. One of those massive paws could crush his skull without effort. "Rex doesn't usually travel with me on diplomatic missions," Dr. Chun continued conversationally. "But Kefma Prime has such an interesting ecosystem. I thought he might enjoy the challenge." "Challenge?" Vexilon whispered, his voice barely audible. "Oh yes," she replied, her tone remaining light and casual. "Rex gets bored easily if there aren't enough alpha predators to keep him entertained. On our last expedition to Zarian 7, he had to settle for hunting those six-legged panther things. Barely kept his interest for a week. The wolf's ears perked up at the mention of hunting, and its lips pulled back slightly to reveal more of those devastating teeth. What Zarthek had initially mistaken for a snarl, he now realized was the creature's version of a smile. Dr. Chi noticed the alien's terrified expressions and tilted her head with apparent confusion. "Oh, don't worry about Rex. He's perfectly gentle with friends." She paused, her smile taking on a sharper edge. Of course, his definition of friend can be quite specific. He has an excellent judge of character. The wolf's gaze fixed on Zarthek, and the alien felt as though he was being evaluated by an intelligence far more ancient and dangerous than his own. After a moment that felt like an eternity, Rex huffed dismissively and looked away, as if deciding Zarthek wasn't worth the effort. "Fascinating," Dr. Chun mused, interpreting the wolf's behavior. "Rex says you smell of fear and false bravado. He finds that combination rather uninteresting." She stood, barely reaching the wolf's chest as she did so. "Well, we should be going. The transport to Kefmer Prime leaves in an hour." As the unlikely pair moved toward the cantina's exit, Dr. Chun paused and looked back at the still frozen aliens. "Oh, and thank you for the concern about my safety. But I think Rex and I will manage just fine. After all, we humans have been apex predators on our world for quite some time. We just prefer to do it with style." The massive wolf padded beside her, its presence transforming the small human from prey into something far more dangerous, a being who had earned the loyalty and partnership of a creature that could kill most sentients without breaking stride. As they disappeared into the corridor, Zarthek finally managed to unclench his hands from the arms of his chair. Around the cantina, normal conversation slowly resumed, though many beings continued to glance nervously toward the exit. "Perhaps," Vexilon said quietly, "we should recalibrate our assumptions about human capabilities." Zarthek nodded slowly, his mandibles clicking not with amusement now, but with a newfound respect tinged with healthy fear. He made a mental note to research more about these humans and their homeworld. Any species that could turn apex predators into loyal companions was clearly not to be underestimated. The lesson was clear. In the vast galaxy, size meant nothing when measured against the bonds forged between true predators. And sometimes, the most dangerous hunters came in the smallest packages.